My name's Marcia Longdon. I'm a partner at Kingsley Napley in the immigration team. Over to you, Karl.
Hi, Marcia. Thank you very much for, for inviting me. So I'm Karl Waheed, the founding partner of Karl Waheed Avocats. We've been around. I won't give you the founding date because it'll give away my age. But we've been around for some time. We have over 25 years of experience in French immigration and European immigration. And we are one of the principal boutique firms dealing with French immigration only in Paris.
Perfect, thank you. So like I said earlier, I thought it would be interesting to explain, I think initially from a UK perspective, how the UK government are going to treat European nationals currently in the UK and post the 1st of January. One of the things I think that highlighted something for me, Karl, was when we was talking recently and you said actually it was the UK government who started this, and I thought that was really quite poignant. It's a very quick summary. More recently, I think it was last week, the UK government announced and shared the new immigration rules. Now, the new immigration rules was introduced in order to capture the changes that's required, to be honest. And so European nationals from the 1st of January who arrive in the UK from the 1st of January will be incorporated into the new immigration system. So what we've seen, quite frankly, is that there are benefits. So even though European nationals will be incorporated into the new system, what's apparent is that they will be treated to some extent like all foreign nationals coming into the UK to seek work. But what European nationals can do, including French nationals, is up to the end of the transition period, they can apply under the European Settlement Scheme. So the government introduced an app that you can download onto an Android or an iPhone, and through that app, you can seek to apply for settled status in the UK. If you've not been in the UK for 5 years, then you'll get what's called pre-settled status, but that will give you permission for the next 5 years. If you've been in the UK for 5 years, then you'll get settled status almost immediately. So, you know, to some extent, we've seen some good things happening from the UK government, and the settlement scheme, I think, has been in operation for at least more than 12 months. So we have seen, if you like, some progress. One of the things I think I wanted to mention to you was obviously, you know, what's your view? How are UK nationals in France being treated? What provisions are in place for them up to the 31st of December?
Well, our scheme is very much like yours, and so I would call it the French settled status scheme. We have pretty much the same provision, and we have a website portal where the UK nationals residing in France can go and apply for the settled status or pre-settled status. If the UK national is a resident on French soil as of the 31st of December of this year, then they can apply for a settled or pre-settled status. If they've been residing in France for 5 years, then they get permanent residency of 10 years.
Okay.
If not, if they've been residing here for less than 5 years, then they will get a 1-year status, which is appropriate to what they have been doing. If they've been working, then they will get the appropriate status, which will allow them to work. It'll be a 1-year status, renewable, and as soon as they accumulate 5 years, then they will get the permanent residency status of 10 years. So that's how it is working for UK residents already here. Now, I mentioned the website. It's been on the air since a few days. So we don't have the long experience you've been having with your application, which has been tested, and there's been all kinds of work and debugging being done in the UK. We are just gone online a few days ago, so we don't know if there are bugs. It looks like a pretty straightforward process. The few applications we put through were quite easy and with no problems. But we have to see how it stands in time, all the different profiles, because there are going to be so many different profiles, how the application is dealing with different profiles. So we don't have the visibility due to the very short life that this portal has until now.
But with respect to the UK withdrawal agreement, I'm assuming that although the French portal has only recently gone online, will it be live up until June 2021? Will UK nationals in France still be able to apply?
That's what the rule is. And we may even expect that date to be prolonged, because when that date was written in, there was no COVID. So COVID is what has had COVID not affected us. The portal was supposed to go online several months earlier. So it is late, and that date of 30th of June may be extended.
Okay. And do you think, Karl, if I could ask, that it's been well advertised in France? So UK nationals who are living in France, are they aware of this new portal that they can go to, or, you know?
No, unfortunately, it's not very well advertised, and the government has not been publicizing it. So those UK nationals, they come to us and they don't know that portal exists. So it is, our government has not been communicating as well as yours has been. Probably because we have other priorities.
Of course.
And Brexit is no longer, has not been in the papers for quite some time now.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I completely appreciate the challenges that France has had even more recently with the attacks and so on. So, you know, I definitely understand that. And can I ask you, a UK national who arrives in France from the 1st of January, you know, to work or even to study or to simply travel, are there new provisions for them?
No, I will use the dirty word. They'll be third country nationals.
Oh.
See, COVID. That means they will be treated like all visa-free countries which are not European countries. So a UK national would be like an Australian, American, Canadian, Japanese. They may not work. They may come in for short stays of up to 90 days in any 180-day period. They'll be subject to that. Excuse me. The office is all empty, so I can cough without people throwing themselves out of my way. So they'll be treated like third country nationals. And if they intend to work, they will have to apply for a work permit under one of the existing schemes for non-Europeans.
So there's no special provisions for them at all?
Absolutely not.
Okay. So from a UK perspective, like I mentioned earlier, the government recently released the immigration rules, which quite frankly are new, and it's new to incorporate European nationals under those rules. So, for example, one of the things that as a practitioner we were really excited about was the fact that the resident labour market, there'll no longer be that test. That's actually going to be abolished, and so from the 1st of January there will be a different skills level criteria for employers to consider, but it will be the same for all nationalities. So using your language, even third country nationals, so someone coming from the US coming into the UK to work and someone coming from France to work, they will technically be treated the same. And when I say technically, what I mean by that is a European national, the distinction, I think, is a French national coming to the UK will have the benefit of being able to apply, for example, for their visa. They can apply from their visa at their home by taking a selfie and doing the application online, whereas a US national will have to attend a visa centre to give their biometrics in the normal way that they would do now. I think there is some level from the government that they want to make things potentially easier for European nationals. Right to work checks, for example, as it stands now, an employer has the obligation to do the check for any person who's going to work for them. But with European nationals, they can take a copy of their passport or their ID card from the 1st of January, and that will be satisfactory to confirm that that European national has the right to work. But they'll have to be sponsored. If they come to the UK from the 1st of January, they'll have to be directly sponsored in order to work for UK employers. But there's nothing like that in France.
No, we're not reciprocating in that sense. UK nationals, if they don't fit into one of those favorable schemes which are grouped together under the passport talent mega scheme, which would allow them to escape labor market testing. So if they are not part of that portion of workers who are either highly qualified or have certain special talents, then they will be subject to labor market tests as all third country nationals are.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. So one of the final questions I've got for you, Karl, is do you have any top tips for UK nationals who are travelling to France now or who intend to travel to France from the 1st of January?
Start thinking of yourselves as third country nationals and you're no longer Europeans as of 1st of January. Some things which come to mind are the UK national will be limited to 90 days in a 180-day period. That's a complicated rule. Okay. Because it's a 180-day period which is floating, which is at any one time, it's 180 days behind you. So you have to count the days you have been in the one of the Schengen countries, and all the time you spend in Schengen countries accumulated cannot go over 90 days in the floating 180-day period. So the European Commission has a tool, the Schengen calculator, which will help make that calculation. So there are, for example, a UK national coming over on a business trip has to mind as to what he or she does so that it is an acceptable business visitor pass. And then they also have to monitor how many days they've been there. And they have to remember if they've been on vacation in the Schengen area. So all vacation and work are accumulated. They must not exceed the 90 days in the 180-day period. Okay. So that's one tip. Oh, yeah, let me also talk about what would happen if they were overstays. Just like any third country nationals, if they're overstays, they can be caught now much easier, and pretty soon we will have smart border rules which will use electronic gear to count all the days you have been in the Schengen area. So the government, the EU governments will be doing that calculation, the 90-day over 180-day period. And if you've overstayed, besides being fined, you may be prohibited from re-entering the Schengen area for up to 3 years.
Oh, wow.
So that's a major hit. Other things other points would be, you can't come over to look for work. Your 90-day stay cannot be extended if you find work, and it is not even allowed to look for work during that 90-day period. So if you intend to work in France, find a sponsor, get a work permit authorization before your entry.
Okay.
So
Okay.
those are the principal things that the UK National has to think about.
It feels as though, Karl, we need to have this conversation again, like after June, to see what actually happened in reality.
Right.
Do you know what I
Right.
mean? Because there's so much, I think, for people to think about. And all they can do now is try and prepare. But like you absolutely highlighted, we're during the pandemic right now. So everything is almost out the window as to what people can do. And there's not much preparation really, because, you know, we're during COVID. So, you know, it's interesting times for sure. It's interesting times.
Well, we are in a lockdown right now, as you yourselves are. What is different from this lockdown, from the first lockdown in spring, is that the prefectures, the administration, they're open. So immigration processes are being handled when they need to be adjusted within the country. Some of the consulates are closed, so incoming traffic is quite different right now because we're in a lockdown.
Yes.
And so things are sort of frozen or semi-frozen as far as the public life goes.
That makes sense. Well, look, we're going to wrap up, but thank you so much, Karl. I absolutely appreciate all of your insight. I think it's been really fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcia. Thank you. And I'm looking forward to seeing the other clips.